Welcome back to Patman Garage. So the other day I got in the bed of my truck and found out that the toolbox mounting bracket had failed on my swing box. This is a Ford version, which it's made by Undercover, so they just stick a Ford oval on it and then probably mark it up a little bit. But anyways, I've had it for 7 years now, and I finally gave up the ghost. So we're gonna take a look at what exactly failed on this thing and get to installing or uninstalling the bracketry and then reinstalling the new one here. So the other day when I had opened it, my tailgate, the other day when I'd opened my tailgate, the toolbox was hanging on just the lower pivot point, and it was off of this upper pivot point, and it was hanging on the latch, so it was kind of sitting at like a 45-degree angle in here. So what actually failed was the end of this bracket here. There's a little metal tab that sticks up and goes inside of here, and the metal sheared off. So this was no longer attached to the bracket, and therefore that upper pivot point slid off. In the process of that failing, the box also cracked on the inner side here. You can see missing a chunk of plastic here, and then you can see some of the cracks propagating up through the body of it. So it was not just a, well, I can re-weld this latch or re-weld the bracket or something like that. It was well, this is now all of it's going to get trashed. So it is what it is. The notable difference with the new one, so this one has the provision for a padlock if you wanted to lock the toolbox from swinging open. The new one, from what the pictures I saw, the new one actually has a keyhole there and a secondary lock, so that's kind of nice. But so we'll get this thing unloaded. I could show you the stuff that lives in here, and then we'll get some of the bracket stuff pulled off of here and get to reinstalling. Okay, and here's the toolbox unloaded. Just kind of some roadside stuff. So toe strap, recovery strap, a couple of axle loops, some D-rings, machete. This is a Nissan thread-on tow hook for front-wheel drive cars. Just some random tools, screwdrivers, safety glasses, that kind of stuff, jumper cables, my little extra fuel funnel. So actually getting ready to start taking this apart, and I was really impressed with the design, and I hadn't ever realized this on my other one, but the boxes are built symmetrical. The boxes are built symmetrical. So if you see, we have the 4 slots on here on the side that's going to be towards the back wall, towards the outer wall. Have the same 4 slots on this side. So when they build these boxes, they rivet on the pivot point, depending on which side they're going to put it on, and then just put a blank rivet on the other side as a structural thing. And then they put the locking tab bar in on the side that needs to, and then the hinges slot in on the back of the box. But the box itself is symmetrical. It's a pretty clever little design there. Anyways, something I'd noticed. But we'll get the brackets swapped out. I don't think I really need to do anything with the latching bracket side. And this is one that I had modified with a extra pivot point or attachment point up top, where I could put a ratchet strap over the top of the toolbox, is all that is there for. So I think I'm gonna leave that one where it's at and just swap the outer one here, or the pivot point side. So it looks like that's going to be some sort of Allen, maybe it's a Torx 40. I don't know. I'll have to figure out what size that is, and we'll get the bracket swapped out here. All right, so the verdict is these are T45s that hold this guy on. What I did not remember is that you really need to access the back side of it, so you need to pull the taillight off of the bedside here, and then the actual hardware goes in here and there, if that'll focus, down there, and straight up there. So they give you, this was basically like a little aluminum spacer, and then they give you a lock washer and then a nut. And you don't really have to hold the nut, I don't think, but putting it on, you probably will. But anyways, so end up having to pull the taillight. These are just 8mm screws that hold it on. No biggie there, but we'll get the new bracket starting to go back in here. Also, if you hadn't seen, I have a forward tailgate assist, which hides in behind the tailgate or the taillight. That is a bolt-on piece, swapping a hinge, and I've got a separate video just for that. But anyways, we'll continue on with this bracket installation here. Okie dokie. I got the new replacement bracket installed here. Lighting's kind of rough into the sun there, but I'm going to leave this one completely as is. If you are installing this yourself, these are Torx 30s that are up here on the top. So that bracket would just bolt in on top of your existing box mount plates. And I did end up using a 1/2-inch wrench on the back side of this to hold the bolts, or hold the nut side of it. Also could use a 13mm to be a little bit loose, but it would work. So now we're ready to set the toolbox onto the hinge point and then make sure it actually swings and locks into place. Okay, and as you heard, it did click right into place, so everything was very easy install on this. I have the pivot point lock, and I think it actually goes here. If I can figure out how that actually goes in there, that might be nice to have. But it looks like it would slot in, but we'll figure that out. But other than that, she should be ready to get loaded up. Alright, well, I got it loaded up, and turns out that this lock here is actually just to keep you from taking the toolbox altogether. It doesn't actually prevent you from opening the toolbox, so that's actually kind of slick. I don't know if mine just got lost on the other one or what, but I'm really glad to have that little handy. I mean, it's just a piece of plastic, but another thing to slow somebody down is always nice. But I said it fits real nice. Got my all my junk loaded back in here, and we should be ready to serve us for quite some time. And yeah, happy with that. So I will probably save some of this original hardware or new hardware stuff as donor pieces for the future. This one will get, the one that failed will actually get put in the scrap pile, but everything else we can hang on to for now. And yeah, we'll wrap up on this. So I still got to put my taillight back on and clean up some stuff out here, but as far as the install video, it's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. Really glad to have a box that's not hanging or falling off or rolling around inside the truck anymore. So selfishly, I'm really happy about that. Yeah. If you're watching this for somebody, for future reference, like I said, I got 7 years out of it, and I definitely am not gentle on my, I don't abuse my stuff, but I have had a lot of weight in that toolbox too. So, you know, I'm not at all bitter about a $200 toolbox failing after 7 years when it has a 1-year warranty on it. So, like I said, we'll jump into another project here, but I appreciate you watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.